guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do a little story time for you guys. I haven't been on this channel for about 2 years. If you look back on any of my videos, you'll see that the date marker is like 2 years ago. So I thought I'd kick back off being back on my channel by giving you guys a little story time to kind of update you more recent rather than the past 2 years. Also, I'm making this video for anybody who may in the future be on YouTube looking for answers and similar stories to their own, considering what I'm about to share with you guys. I looked up on YouTube and there wasn't much to compare to myself. I come to YouTube and the internet for answers and kind of like as a pick-me-up to see if there's anybody else who has been through what I have and how their outcome came, if that makes any sense. So I'm just going to get right into it. As you can tell by the title, it's the story of how I broke my ankle. And it's a doozy, so we'll just get right into it. Okay, so it is now July 13th, 2017, just as a reference. And this happened back in December of 2016, and December 19th, 2016 to be specific. So it was kind of a gloomy day. I live in South Carolina, so it wasn't really cold, but it was like there was like a chill in the air, I guess. So it had rained that night. It wasn't raining at the moment, but the roads were still wet, and I was driving into kind of a busy area where I live. I was doing some last-minute Christmas shopping, as it was 6 days till Christmas, and everybody was coming to a stop, and the roads were wet, and I hydroplaned into a car in front of me. The car in front of me was a Jeep, and it sat higher than my car. My car at the time was a 1993 Honda Civic. If any of you guys know what that looks like, they're very small, and mine was a two-door. So I did kind of like go under the Jeep, the back of the Jeep, and then the car behind me could not stop fast enough, so he ended up hitting me, and he was in a Ford F-150. So that's like a truck, if you know cars. So I was squished in the middle. There was another car involved, but that was when the truck hit myself and pushed myself and the Jeep into another car. So altogether there was 4 cars lined up. So I got in a car accident, and my first, as I realized what just happened, I couldn't breathe. And I was scared, so scared for my life. I was like, oh my gosh, is this it? Like, I'm about to, like, the only other way I could imagine, like, the worst way to, like, be leaving this world. One is, like, drowning because you can't breathe, and, you basically feel yourself dying. I don't know if that's a little morbid, but the other way would be if you just couldn't breathe. That's a very scary feeling. If you've ever, you know, been hit in the chest really hard or fallen and lost your breath, it's just very scary. So I was in my car, couldn't breathe, and I, first instinct, because I was a health science major in high school, and going into college I was going for nursing. So I know a good bit of, medical things, you know, if that makes sense. So the first thing I started to do was try to make noise, try to talk or something, because obviously when you talk, you're putting out air and bringing back air. So I tried to talk, and I finally got myself breathing. Scariest thing. And then I was like looking around, and I realized like really what just happened. My whole front windshield was shattered, and shattered to where it was like, you know when you shatter, or it wasn't, okay, so it didn't come in, like the window didn't break, but it was like, you know when you shatter your phone and it looks like a spider web? That's what my entire windshield in front of me looked like, and I was so terrified that at any second it would just cave in on me. And then I'd have glass everywhere, even though I already did. My back two windows to my back seat both caved in, so those were, so like, there was no window. My front passenger side was perfectly fine, to be honest. Well, not the back, but just the front, besides, like, my car being smushed. But, like, if there was anybody sitting there, I feel like I was alone, but if anybody was sitting there, I feel like they would have been okay. Maybe a little shaken up, obviously, as I was, but I feel like they would have been okay. And I am glad that I was by myself. So I didn't call the police. I automatically like called my parents. Both of them were at work, so they didn't answer the phone, which is also a very scary feeling when nobody, you know, like, I mean, it's not their fault, like, obviously they're at work, but it's a very scary feeling when you're like, oh my gosh, nobody's gonna know where I am. Everybody's gonna, like, freak out once they do find out what happened. And, I tried to sit up because it's an old car, so my seat clicked back a little bit, so I was sitting back a little bit, and I tried to sit up, and when I tried to sit up, you know when you're like kind of low back, your feet come up a little bit when you're trying to get up, or not, I wasn't trying to get up, but I was trying to just sit up, and so when I tried to do that and my feet came up, I realized that my foot was just like hanging from my ankle. If you guys can hear my dogs barking, side note, just ignore that. I'm sorry. I can't do much about it. They're barking at stuff going by. So anyway, I go to sit up and I feel my ankle or my foot just hanging at my ankle, and I was like, oh my goodness, like, I can't believe this is happening, you know, just to add on to everything else that was already happening. I got a call. I texted both my parents because I knew if they didn't see my call, they would see my text, and they would know, you know, what to do and stuff like that. So I called one of my friends, and she was at the bank near my house, or not near my house, near where I was, and so I called her and I was like, hey, I just got in a car wreck, my parents aren't answering, please, like, meet me I'm gonna have to go to the hospital, please meet me at the hospital. She starts freaking out. She actually came to the wreck site, which this part I don't remember, but she told me that she saw me on the backboard and on the gurney, and that she, like, touched my leg and was like, Caitlin, I'm gonna meet you at the hospital. And when she told me that, I was like, no you didn't. And she's like, yes I did. Like, I don't know, maybe I was just, at that moment, it was just like too much going on and I just don't remember. Or maybe I just didn't hear her. But, because there were so many people around me. So I'm still sitting in my car, and I didn't call the police or anything, but literally in seconds I heard police sirens, ambulances, fire trucks, all kinds of stuff already coming. So that's why I just let everybody know where I was and what was going on. I finally get a call back from my mom, and she's freaking out, and obviously I'm her kid, but she's freaking out, and she's like, oh my god, what happened, are you okay? I said, and it kind of cracks me up now that I think about it. I was like, yeah mom, calm down, like, I'm okay. I automatically was like, my car isn't. And she was like, that's fine, it's fine, you're okay, you're good, where are you? And I was like, meet me at the hospital. And she was like, why? You just said you were okay. And I was like, I am, but my ankle's broken. And she was just like, that's not okay, Caitlin. And it was just, now that I look back on it, and we all laugh about it, because I was like, I'm okay, but my ankle's broken. So, firefighters and everybody had to break my door off of my car because it was like jammed. It was stuck. Like, so I didn't. Here is something that I recommend to everybody. Not saying that you will all get in this bad of a car accident even in your lifetime, but always keep a hoodie, a blanket, something in your car that you can cover with, a towel even, because when this all happened and they had to break off my door basically, the window of my door that was in my door was still intact when they were there, but they have to break the glass to be able to get, and even if they didn't break the glass beforehand, it would break while they were getting your door off. Okay, so I was in shorts and a t-shirt. Like I said, I live in South Carolina. It wasn't that cold. It was maybe like chilly, and you probably think that's crazy because it was December. It was almost Christmas. But that's just how it is here. It gets colder at night, but during the day it's pretty alright. So I was in shorts and a t-shirt and flip-flops. So he was like, do you have anything that you can cover your face with? You know, just protect this side of you. And I was like, no. I didn't have anything in my car at the time. I actually had just cleaned out my car because I used to keep all kinds of stuff in there. And so he handed me like the neon vests that they usually wear when they're out at an accident so they don't get hit by other cars so you can see them. He handed me that, and he was like, okay, well, try and cover your face with this. So they got my door off and they put a neck brace around me because they asked, you know, what hurts or what's going on. And I said, my ankle's definitely broken and my back hurts. And so he was like, you know, trying to lighten the mood. He was like, okay, well, we'll see about your ankle, and just kind of gave me a smile. And so then he went and got the neck brace, and he came back, and before he like went to go get the neck brace, I was like, no sir, like, it's broken. I can assure you that. I'm not a doctor, but I can assure you it's broken. And he was like, okay, gotcha. So I was very calm. I will say that it was very surprising to myself, and I was very proud of myself afterward that I was as calm as I was, you know. And I was very calm, you know, like, yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir, no sir with everybody, and just trying to be very polite, very calm in this stressful situation. As I already could see, there was the other people in the other cars were, you know, not being the nicest, I guess, to them, and these people are here to help you, and they did an amazing job getting me out of there and getting me onto an ambulance and everything. We ended up having 5 ambulances, and once they got me on the backboard with my neck brace and everything, they put me into the ambulance, and then they were like, we're bringing someone else into the ambulance. And I was like, okay. So I'm on a backboard, so they just like shift me over to the bench that like anybody that would be with you or the people in the ambulance who like evaluate you would sit on, I guess. And I was like, okay, that's fine, whatever. And they bring in a second person like on a gurney, and he's complaining of like back pain. And later on I like find out that this is the guy that hit me. Like, he was the driver of the truck that hit me. And later on, obviously there was nothing I could do about it, but I was like, dang, really? Like, I understand I just hit a car, and then you ran into me, but still, you know, you don't want people running into you. So, he was in there with me. It was fine. It was whatever. We get to the hospital. It was a very bumpy ride, I will say that, and they didn't splint or tape down my ankle or anything, so I was literally like here's my ankle, here's the thing I'm on, and it's like bouncing. It was terrible. That was terrible. And you could, if my foot moved enough, I could feel like my bones like rubbing on each other. That was terrible. So we get to the hospital. They asked me if I'm okay with the hospital. I'm not going to say names, but like the hospital that they were taking me to. Honestly, it doesn't have the best rep around where I live. But it was the closest thing, and I was like, whatever, yeah, sure, take me there, it's fine. So, I get there, and the people were so nice. I asked them if I could have my purse, because I was not leaving my purse in my car, okay? Because my car is obviously going to be towed and taken to a tow yard, an impound, whatever. Probably not an impound, probably just a tow yard. But I get to the hospital, and the guy was like joking, and he was like, "Doesn't your purse look so nice on me?" And I couldn't help but laugh. And once I got there, they were like, "Your mom's here," and I was like, "Really?" Like she must have been speeding to get to this hospital, because she was there like right as I got there. And as soon as they told me that, I was like, "Really?" And I just started bawling. And my mom comes over and she's like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And of course, I'm crying now. And she's like, "What's wrong? What's wrong? What hurts?" Like, and she's like looking around, looking for people, like nurses or doctors or something to help me. And I'm like, "I'm fine, Mom. I'm fine. It's just a lot right now." And she's like, "Okay, okay." And she's like looking at me, and she's like, "Why do they have a neck brace on you? Why?" And I was like, "Mom, please calm down." So then my dad comes about like 10-15 minutes later, because he does work pretty far away from the area we live in, and pretty far. The hospital is close to my house, so in the area. So he gets there 10-15 minutes later, and at first they were like, "No, only one person at a time back there." And my mom was like, "Are you kidding me?" So they did end up letting him back there, so that both my parents were back there. This was a Monday night, okay, so I didn't get a room. I was in the hallway on like one of the hospital beds, the rolling hospital beds, and I was in the hallway the entire time. So here's where it gets like what? This is, you'll see now why I just kind of settled for the hospital. I probably should have went somewhere else, like been taken somewhere else. But immediately they come up to me and they're like, "Hi," you know, the nurses, and it was mainly nurses at this time, and they were like, "You know, I'm so and so, I'm going to be taking care of you. And it was like the x-ray technician," and she was like, this is who this is, and blah blah blah. She's gonna do x-rays. So I was like, "Okay, that's fine." But you know, there's nothing else I'm not gonna be like, "No." So which is, it's fine, like whatever, take x-rays, we need to find out what's going on. So they take x-rays from my knee down, and then zoom, like from my knee down, and then my ankles. And when I was laid flat the entire time. So that was fine. I come back to the hallway where my parents are. You know, my dad's giving them all my information and stuff like that, updating, and the lady comes up to me and she's like, "When's the last time you had a tetanus shot?" And she was like, "Last time we have on your records, it was when you were here in 2008. And I was like, "Yeah, that sounds about right." And so she was like, "Okay, well, you're going to have a tetanus shot." So I got a tetanus shot in this arm, and then I got a morphine shot in this arm, just to, you know, numb my foot, take away the pain type thing. Morphine, like, I don't think I've ever been on morphine, like, for any other situation, but it wore off so fast. Like, I was in pain, and then of course sitting there, I was sitting there for like 4 hours. I kid you not. If it wasn't 4, it was 5, or I don't know, maybe more than that, because it was at least 4 hours, which this hospital has a tendency to keep you there for no reason for a long period of time. So I'm sitting there, and I keep telling my mom went to go talk to somebody on the phone, I think. So I'm telling my dad, I'm like, I'm getting like restless, like sitting in this bed. They finally did prop me up after I went for my CT scan, because they did the x-rays, the CT scan, and then I was just sitting there forever. And so this other nurse comes, and she's like, hey, you know, it's shift change, so I'm now your nurse for the like night shift. This was at like 6 o'clock or so. All of this happened, or I never said that. All of this happened around like 5 to 5:30, like the accident and getting everything situated and stuff, and getting to the hospital and stuff. So this was like 6 o'clock-ish, and she comes up and she's like, hey, it's shift change, you know, I'm your new nurse, introduces herself and everything like that. I never saw her again. For the rest of the time that I was there, she never came and checked on me. Nothing. Like, nothing. There was actually a different nurse that kept walking by, because I was by, like, their little nursing, like, their nurse station, where they would, like, come get charts and stuff like that, in the hallway. And she kept going by, and she was like, is anybody checking on you? And I was like, no. And she was like, okay, well, do you need anything? And they had told me, like, try not to eat or drink anything, you might have to have surgery tonight. And I was like, are you serious? You know, but with the thing with this, like, telling me that I might have surgery that night, it was like, you didn't ask me. I understand that, like, I have broken bones and stuff, but you should maybe ask, you know, I don't know. I don't know how all of that works, but it was just really annoying, because she was like, okay, do you need anything? And I was really dehydrated, and I was like, I know I can't have anything to eat or drink, but can I have, like, some ice to chew on, or, like, something? So she did. She brought me a cup of ice, and I basically downed that in 2 seconds, and I was starving, because right before I got in the accident, I was actually about to go to Chick-fil-A and get me some food. So, yeah, that happened, and I literally never saw, like, that nurse that came and was like, hey, I'm the nighttime nurse for you, I'll be taking care of you. I never saw her again. The other nurse was the one who was like, do you need anything? Can I get you anything? Like, how are you feeling? Stuff like that, you know? Like, that wasn't even my nurse. So I ended up, the doctor came, and he was like, you know, you're not going to have surgery tonight, but we're going to send you to this doctor on Wednesday. Like, you have an appointment with him on Wednesday as, like, a consultation, and then you'll go from there. So they split my foot, which is just, like, holding it in place with, like, wrapping it, basically, with a splint under it, which is just something to immobilize me, basically. So, I had already had crutches, like, at home from past stuff. I've never broken a bone. This was my first time, but I already had crutches. I think we got them from a friend or something. So, they asked me if I need crutches. Of course, they're gonna, like, bill my insurance and stuff for it. And I was like, no, it's okay. We have some at home. Just, y'all can just wheel me out to the car, and I'll use the crutches when I get home. And so they split me and everything, and I get in the wheelchair, and I get in the car, and I go home, and I was starving. So they just made me not drink or eat anything for like 4 or 5 hours. And then they're like, no surgery tonight. And I was like, are you kidding me? So I go home with my broken bones, and we got, like, pain medicine, stuff like that. And I have a 1.5-story house, if that makes sense. Like, the whole downstairs has, like, rooms, and then there's 2 rooms upstairs. That is where we're at right now. Like, while I'm filming this video, this is my room upstairs. So my mom was like, well, how about you sleep on the couch, you know, so that if you need anything, you can just yell, because their room is by the living room. And I was like, whatever, that's fine. Okay. And so I do not go to sleep. Of course, when I get home, I'm like updating people. I'm telling everybody, you know, texting people like, this is what's going on. Of course, that was a Monday, so I did have work, I think, that Wednesday and that Friday. And I had to get my shifts covered, which wasn't an issue. My work was so helpful, and they just covered the shifts, and then the next week I just wasn't on schedule, obviously, and the weeks after that. So I end up not going to sleep, and it's like 6 o'clock in the morning. My dad is an early riser, so he already gets up at like 6, and he comes out of the room, and I'm sitting there crying, and he's like, what is wrong? Like, what's wrong? What can I do? Do you need the pain medicine? Like, and I was like, no, like, I can't go to sleep, and I was just, you know, like, sitting there, and I'm thinking of everything that just happened, and it just, you know, it's emotional. So he's like, come on, I'm gonna put you in one of the guest bedrooms that's down there. So I get up on my crutches, you know, I go to the bathroom beforehand, and I go in the guest bedroom. That and the splint that they put me in was terrible. It put so much pressure on, like, my heel, and because it was flat and your heel's not flat, it was just terrible. Like, no. So he puts me in there, and I'm in the bed and everything. Literally within like 5 minutes, I was asleep, and I slept pretty long, obviously, because I hadn't slept at all. And I wake up to pain because I have to take my pain medicine, so I take it. And fast forward to Wednesday. Oh, I had like visitors and stuff in between then, though. So Wednesday, that's the 21st. December 21st, 2016, I go see this doctor. He's a trauma surgeon, and he like cuts my splint, like, from my toes up, just to evaluate, see what's going on. And it was really painful when he was cutting, even though they were like the dull scissors, obviously, that won't cut your skin. So I was very confused. So when he pulled back, I had blisters all lining my foot, like on this, like where your toes are, all the way down to the like outside of my ankle, like that way. And this is my right foot. So he was like, oh my gosh, and I was like, what are those? Obviously they look like blisters, so I was like, why do I have blisters? I don't get it. And he's like, they're fracture blisters. All the fluid in your foot from its swelling had nowhere to go, so it made blisters. And boy, did they hurt. They were just huge bubbles all over my foot. I don't have a picture of them, and you probably don't want to see a picture of them, because I freaked out when I was like, what is that? So because my splint was so uncomfortable, he was honestly about to just wrap it back up wherever he cut, the, like, wrapping or whatever. He was just gonna wrap it back up and call it a day, and send me back until we scheduled my, sorry, my camera shut off, so now I have to start where I left off. So I think I was talking about him wrapping my foot up and just waiting until my surgery. So he was going to wrap my foot up and wait until my surgery to take off the splint and everything. And because the splint that the hospital had put me in was so uncomfortable, I asked him if he would undo it and re-splint it. So instead of it being under my foot, under my heel, and up my leg, like the back of my leg, he took it all off and did it in like a U shape, like from the arch of my foot to the sides of my leg. So that was way more comfortable, and we go home. So I'm able to sleep better and all that kind of stuff. And the surgery comes, you know, I did Christmas and everything, which I got a pair of shoes for Christmas that I wasn't able to wear until about March of this year. So that was kind of like, man, dang. But I did get all the seasons of Modern Family and a DVD player for Christmas. because we did just move into this house in October of 2016, so we didn't, I didn't have like a DVD player for my room or anything. So I got a Blu-ray player and all the seasons of Modern Family, which I watched while I was down. So, surgery day comes and I get up at 7 a.m. bright and early, go to the hospital, or go to where I'm doing the surgery, and talk to all the people, you know, anesthesiologists and everybody who's involved with my surgery. So I get ready, get in the bed, everything, get the IV. After the IV and, after the IV, I was awake for a little while, and then I don't remember anything after that. So then I'm waking up, and I'm already put back into a different splint. Like, everything's done, everything's good. They just have to do, like, my release forms, basically, for me to leave. The lady that was, like, bringing me to and, like, waking me up, she was quite rude. She was like, Caitlin, you have to open your eyes. You have to open your eyes. Caitlin, wake up, wake up, wake up. And I was like, dude, like, I get it. But here's the thing. I'm laying flat, okay, in this bed. And I am looking straight up at some right behind lights. You really expect me to just, like, okay, I'm up. Like, no, okay. And then she's like, alright, you have to take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Because I obviously was so relaxed that I had some shallow breathing. So I could hear, like, the thing going off every time that, I needed to breathe, I guess, you know. So you could hear beep, 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 beep. And then she would look at me and go, take a deep breath. So every time I hear it now, like, while I'm sitting there, every time I hear the beeping, I would just so she didn't have to say anything. She was just so rude. And, you know, when you're waking people up and, like, stuff like that and bringing them back, like, they're not asleep anymore, you gotta be nice. Like, dang, nobody wants to be awake. Like, what? So, and then she, I guess, was giving me pain medicine for my foot. So when I woke up, she was like, what's your pain at? And I was like, about a 7. So then she asks again, she's like, okay, what about now? So I guess she was pumping some medicine into my IV or something, and I was like, it's at like a 7 still. And so she got me to about like a 5, I would say. It was still pretty painful, but, you know, like, it wasn't too bad. And I just gave up because she was just like, it was like she was getting annoyed. Because I would keep going. I was just like, no, it's at like a 6. You know, now it's like still just 6. And she just was like, you know, like huffing and puffing. And I'm like, this is your job. Like, calm down. This is your job. So I was like, okay, yeah, it's fine, whatever. So they wheeled me back to like my room. I see my mom, and my cousin came with us. She's younger than me, and she came. And, oh, I had to pee so bad. All the fluids that they pumped into me, I had to pee so bad. So I went to the bathroom, and then we went home, and I automatically, like, knocked out, like, fell asleep. And I wake up in excruciating pain, like, so bad. And it was because I slept through when I was supposed to take my medicine, and it woke me up. Like, it was like, girl, like, instantly. And my cousin's like, I was crying and crying, and I was like, Emma, please go find my mom. Please go find my mom. Because I was in the guest room. And she was like, okay, what can I do, you know? And I was like, no, it's okay, like, just go get my mom. And so my mom comes in, she's like, what's wrong? And I was like, it hurts so bad. And so she gives me my pain pills. It was terrible. I ate something, I think, and got some drink in me and stuff. But it was so painful. So, fast forward, I think to like, the end of January. So I had a splint for like a week after my surgery, okay? I kind of went too far. So after my surgery, I had a splint for about a week. Went back, I got a burgundy, like, cast, and I had that for a week. during my birthday. My birthday is January 9th, and I had to spend my 19th birthday in bed with a cast. But my sister-in-law turned 21 on the 16th, so I think the 19th we had a birthday party for us, and it was fun. You know, I had like a little scooter that I could drive around on, and I had all my friends and my family, my boyfriend there, and it was really fun. It was something to lighten what everything that was going on, you know. So I had the birthday and everything, but I had the burgundy cast for a week. I had a pink cast for 2 weeks, which went through my little birthday party that we had. And then the end of January, like January 31st, I actually think, I had to go back, and I got an air boot. And I was not weight bearing. I was not allowed to walk on it or anything like that. And that thing was heavy. It was heavier than the cast. And it was hard, like, going on crutches everywhere with this, you know, like this giant thing on my foot. And it was tough. But I started physical therapy even though I wasn't weight bearing, I think I started it in like February, mid-February, just as like getting my foot ready, I guess. So I went and I would like pick marbles up with my toes, stuff like that, you know, like things, just range of motion, not necessarily walking yet. So then the end of February, I went back to my doctor, and he was like, alright, you can try to walk on it now. So it was very painful trying to walk on it, obviously, because you're off of it for so long, and it was tough. So he was like, you can try to walk on it, you know, that was like mid-February. He was like, you can walk on it and try and start getting back to life, I guess. And it was so hard, and I was then weight bearing, so then we did certain things at physical therapy that would get me going, and I started to walk in the boot. And in March, I went to Florida to see my aunt, my dad's side. I went to see them, and then it was like the end of the middle, and then I stayed for like 2 weeks, and then we went, and from Florida, my aunt and I flew to Texas, where my cousin lives on my dad's side, and she has a daughter who was turning 2. April 4th, she turned 2. So I had never met her, and that cousin is very close to me and has always been like my favorite. I know you shouldn't play favorites with your cousins and your family, but she was always my favorite cousin. I always looked up to her. She's a very successful woman, and I love her very much, okay? So I had never met her daughter, and so I finally got to meet her, and I got to spend her second birthday with her, and she was just so cute, and I was so sad that we only stayed for like, I want to say it was like a week, and it went by so fast, and I did not want to leave. So but we flew back from Texas to Florida, and I just had so much fun there. But we went back to Florida, and my dad came and got me we flew back on a Wednesday, and my dad came and got me that Friday. So then I came back here, and I started my physical therapy again. Obviously I couldn't do it while I was gone, but I did do some like exercise and stuff on my own. But we came back, I did physical therapy again, and I was in my boot up until, to be honest, what was that? April. And my dad noticed that I was like walking weird even with it on, you know, like I couldn't walk without it. If I took off the boot and tried to walk, it was really painful, and I walked kind of like, if this is my left foot, this is my right foot, and it was outward. And then my foot is inward, like it's hard to explain. Like, if I can find a picture and I can insert it, I will insert a picture, but my foot is just turned inward, okay? And that's what causes me to kind of like walk, I guess, on the outside of my foot. And I went back to my doctor and we were like, you know, like, I don't get it. Like, I can't walk without this boot. It doesn't make sense. Why can I not walk yet? And he's like, I'm not sure, to be honest. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm not sure. So he sent me for a CAT scan, and we find out that my ankle is pushed forward and healed pushed forward, and that my options are to just kind of suck it up. That, and I had ankle arthritis, which if anybody watching this video has ankle arthritis, kudos to you, because, dude, it is a fight. Like, it's painful. Like, even right now, if I get up and try to walk, it's painful. It's very painful. And when you are, it's your ankles. That's just like if you have arthritis in your wrist, you don't walk on your wrists. You don't walk on your hands. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. All your weight being on your ankles and your feet, it's really hard. But I went from a boot to a brace, and now I'm in a brace, and I'll take it off every once in a while. I don't have to wear it. I'll take it off every once in a while and try to walk without it. Since then I stopped physical therapy in June, and I am scheduling an appointment with a different surgeon, and I'm having, hopefully, surgery by the end of September. It was a decision that my dad and I made together, that I would go in and get a subtalar fusion, which is like, when people say your ankle, there's actually like 3 parts of it. I'm not a doctor. I'm not that far into my nursing career, obviously, because I had to discontinue school for this amount of time. I'm still not back in school. School starts in August, and I'm having surgery in September, and I'll be back in bed. So, I'm gonna have to start school back up in like next August or something like that. Hopefully sooner than that, but like I mentioned before, I want to be a nurse. But I can't be a nurse if I am on my feet, and I can't be on my feet. So I might have to consider getting, rethinking my career, which is kind of like really discouraging for me, but I'll get through it. We'll see, but I wanted to make this video kind of as like, there's always hope, I guess, or not I guess, there is always hope, but it's very hard these last 8 months, and I couldn't find anything on the internet. I mean, like, there's like blogs and things, but nothing where I could really relate, So, that's why I made this video. I really wanted somebody to benefit from it, and I want to start vlogging. Not daily, maybe, not really daily, because that's a lot, but maybe like every Friday I can post what I did that week, or vlog throughout the week, and then put it all together, condense it into what's actually interesting for people to watch, and put it on a Friday, like upload it on a Friday. But I know I do have some subscribers, and maybe after this video have some more, but I do need some suggestions. I would like to continue with my YouTube, considering I am out of work. I am out of school right now, and I need something to do and I need something to do, but I want it to benefit not just me, but other people. I hope this video was very helpful for some people, and I will keep you guys updated on my journey with my ankle, and yeah. maybe soon I will put a video up of what it looks like when I walk. Or I'll insert a clip on this video. I don't know, but obviously you guys will know because y'all are going to be watching this video. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, give it a like, comment. It might have been a little spotty just because of how I remember things, and it's hard to keep it all together, if that makes sense, because this was since December and now it's July. So I might have left some things out, or maybe over-explained some stuff, but yeah, I just wanted you guys to know the story of how I broke my ankle and the car accident I was in. And yeah, if you guys like these story times, they definitely won't be as long as this ever again, but I can do more. I've been through some stuff, and maybe like a more lighthearted subject, not necessarily this depressing, I guess. But yeah, I'm back on my channel, and I hope you guys enjoy. See you guys later. Bye.